Okay, first of all, who do we have online? So I know. whether
Just
Norma
take
made it. Okay. Absent for now would be Norma and George. Okay, and
Okay.
then mark that Taco's on there, and then we'll see if Norma jumps on or not. I don't know that she was gonna be able to, but she said she'd try. Other than that, we have everybody else here that Shelby knows of. So David, John, Krista, Rebecca, Shelby. Meeting agenda. So,
Excuse me, sorry.
real quick, on the meeting agenda, I don't care if we go over it. I just want to make sure we add it to the old business. The master fee schedule eventually, like I said, I don't care if it's not done, I don't care
Yeah.
that it's done. I just want to make sure we add it so
Add
we
it
don't
to old
forget it
business.
for
Okay.
October, yeah.
I would like to add something, maybe another business,
Under what?
other business.
Okay,
At one time, I'd asked what it would cost to bring everybody up to $15 an hour. I just
Oh.
need a ballpark figure,
Okay,
just trying to get ahead of
Okay.
the employment game.
okay, increase in minimum park wage.
Yeah.
Okay,
If we
Um,
could break that down by month and by, and then again, we don't need to spend time on it today, but just at some point in the future, next month or two,
okay.
whenever it settled down a little bit, if it ever does settle down.
and then also to other business, I want to talk about that, the impact that we're gonna have from the Oregon Paid Leave Act that goes in on January 1st.
Okay. Yep, I've been looking at that too.
Okay, any other amendments?
You want to talk about tablets?
Yeah, good point. Put that under other tablets.
Rebecca. All your stuff.
Did
Oh,
we
you're
talk
putting that
about
under
it
that.
under-
Yeah, okay, never mind.
Well,
And if we have no
should
other,
we talk about the energy under my report?
Yeah, because you put that on.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda with the said changes.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, we didn't get a second.
Oh,
I'll second, I'll
sorry,
second.
Sorry,
I'll
sorry.
second. I'll second.
Minor little
There you go.
thing.
Thank you, John.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, did you guys need, did you guys read your minutes? Do you have any corrections? I had two on there. So John, did you have any corrections you wanted to note?
No, I'm good.
Okay, on back page, so page 4, just Army
Mhm.
Corps would be Corp, CORP,
Yeah.
period. And then I think, I'm not positive, but I think, right above your signature block, kind of, in that last
Oh,
part
there it
bullet.
is.
And then I think on page 2, it's halfway down the thing where it says George Scheimer asked about the $0 figures on the pool statement of revenue and expenditures.
Yes,
I think that was for electricity on prior years though, right? It wasn't for anything in our,
yeah, it was in the
Current year.
prior year columns. There was like
Yeah.
3 or 4.
so can we just note that
Yes.
though, because I don't want it to make it sound like we had a 0 for our current year.
Oh, okay.
So just
Yep.
say expenditures for electricity on prior year.
Okay.
Otherwise, it wasn't really clear on what he was questioning.
Okay.
And other than that, though, I thought it was good. So if anybody has any issues, please so state. Otherwise, I'll take a motion to pass this.
I'll move that we accept these minutes with the 2 changes that Richard presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right,
Passed. Financial statements and correspondences. And Shelby, what did we correct last time? Were
The
we-
very bottom line where it said does not, or it said does, and now it's does not include the transfers.
Perfect. Okay,
Yep,
great.
so that I
That's
did
what
make sure that got that did get
Okay.
updated.
Great. That was the one part I didn't look at yet.
Yep. So the bank account balances right now do reflect some transfers that I had to make from the LGIP to our operating for bills to be paid. So just so you guys are aware of that, operations right now at Banner for the pool is 59,431.85. The park is 65,193.28. We do have $900 in the Banner bank account for the park. That is the boat dock. So that is notated, that will be also transferred to pay off that boat dock loan, or to go towards the boat dock loan. So other than that, the boat dock loan payment has been fully made for this year. We do still have some outstanding mortgages, which will actually bring us ahead for next year. So are there any questions on the treasury report?
No,
Next 3 pages are the amortization schedules for the GEO bond, the Bank of the O loan, and the boat dock loan. Are there any questions on any of those?
no, ma'am.
Okay. Next up is the organizational statement of revenues and expenditures. So as an organization for this year, total revenue, which is almost down all the way at the bottom, second column, we're at $327,374.87. Total expenditures, it's going to be on page 11, is $363,960.40. So we are actually at a loss for this year so far of $36,585
Just for 2 months though.
for 2 months.
Right, and our
yes.
taxes come in November,
Correct.
bump us way up over and above.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
But I mean, I think honestly, to take a moment, it's actually good for us to look at this. I know that we have taxes, but to
Yeah.
know about how much it's good to see that we're at a loss. I know we have taxes to recoup, but again, it's about that mission of like making more money in
Yes,
the other area.
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
parks.
we'll have tons of taxes and then we'll have, in January, we'll have all of our park income.
But that park
Yeah.
income goes into unearned revenue.
Oh,
It doesn't
So you're not
get,
down.
yeah,
right,
yeah. So even though we're still earning the revenue that we brought in December and
Yeah.
right.
cash that we brought in December and January,
Gotcha.
we're just now starting to actually
Gotcha.
earn that revenue.
Yeah,
So,
gotcha.
so. Okay, so if there's no questions on that one, ice cream truck.
Oh. What is that? Okay,
So now we're gonna look at just the park side. So statement of revenues and expenditures for the park, total revenue for this year, second column, about 2/3 of the way down, 264,258.24. Total expenditures, page 13, bottom of the page, 244,584.53. So the park portion shows
positive.
a positive 19,673.71 for the 2 months in this year so far.
Okay.
Are there any questions on that one? Okay, next up is the balance sheet. You will see that. So the only thing that's in receivables is the boat dock loan, which is still at 69,783. We're still paying towards that as we get the money. We do currently have accounts payable of 13,217.66. I was waiting for the money to physically get into the bank account to pay those bills. So it's there now. We will be getting those checks cut. So. Okay. Any questions on this one?
So as of right now, or no, sorry, so. this
So
is
that-
The balance sheet as of 6:30.
It puts that because it covers for the whole fiscal year. Because if
Oh, duh, I'm on the wrong year. Okay, so.
yeah, so
the
if I was to cut it
unearned-
off,
Still in the wrong year, sorry.
if I
was
cut it
going
off on the day
backwards.
that I do it,
Yeah.
it will actually skew the numbers
Yeah,
because
no
it
worries.
will it will cut off part of our balances.
Yeah, no worries. I was in the
so-
wrong year, first of all, but
It's okay.
unearned revenue, so we have 82,550.
Yep,
So that would be,
that is reservations that we still have not earned. So for
Correct.
all of September, and then we have a
Right.
bunch of dailies for October too as
Right.
well.
okay,
Yeah, so
That
that
just
will
makes me-
get recognized.
yeah.
Yeah.
That just makes me feel better about,
Where we're at.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because we were 20,000 in the plus, but really, once that's earned, we'll have a little bit
More,
more, but we're
yep.
paying out at the same time, so yeah,
Correct.
okay. All right,
Okay, next up is the budget to actual for these 2 months so far. So you see middle, it shows the 264, 258, 24 that we have for actual revenue this year. And then, and this is as of when I ran the reports. So it does include a little bit of September's where we're at. Total requirements, which is our expenditures, 270,619. So it brings the park down to a little bit of a loss right now. But it's because we haven't transferred the income over for September yet.
Say that again?
So that it does show a loss of
Mhm.
6,361.
Mhm.
It's because we don't transfer the money out of unearned into earned until the very end of the month.
Oh, okay.
So even though
Okay.
it
It's
shows
skewed
that,
for now because
Yes.
we're before the end of the month.
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
But I'm just gonna write that down.
That's the only downside to doing an actual budget to actual showing where we're at currently. Next, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages is the bank account activity for the park. Is there any questions on any of that? We did do deposits of 127, 678, 71. Disbursements was 146, 615, 50. So,
Real quick, back on page 15, on the summer recreation grants of 83,564. Was that like categorized from, because we were given 100 and
correct, but
part of
in
it
the
went,
previous fiscal year,
Uh-huh.
it was on the pool. The summer rec program was on the pool. So
Mhm.
anything that happened in June for the summer rec program, that money went to the pool. And then the rest of it, because the rest of the summer program is on us, it stayed on the park.
okay,
So it
just
it
want to
did
make sure
get
that was
split.
divided out
Yeah, it did get
in a
split.
way.
Mhm.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, if there's no questions on the bank account activity report, next up is the cash report with the stats. So for August, we brought in 17,707 in cash for the campground. We had 1,644 nights, I guess, essentially booked and stayed. 9 of those being tents, 30 of those being overflow. So it is down from the previous year. This August, we had a lot of cancellations and a lot of it was because of gas.
Oh, wow.
That was the biggest one that was starting to come out, was the gas prices, so. Okay, if there are no other questions on the park, we'll go to the pool. So second column, halfway down, total revenue for the pool for this year, 63,116.63. Total expenditures on page 23, 119,375.87. So that puts us at a net loss of 56,259.24. Are there any questions? As I say, I see you've got questions. I can see you wanting to ask. There's something.
Oh, I'm just looking at what it's all going towards. Looks like payroll.
A good chunk of it is.
74 of it.
Yes.
So couldn't see what else we spent money on. Oh, electricity. Janitorial are about the same. Okay.
Do you know if the current month actual for electricity is more or less than it was the prior month?
It's more.
Because
It was a couple $100 more.
I say one thing that might affect that is that we aren't able to put the pool covers on currently. So we are losing energy.
I'm glad you set that out in the report, because when I walked in the morning, I walked over and I go, oh, pool cover. And
I'll
next
talk
day,
about the energy trust and that.
Yeah. Next up is the balance sheet for the rec center. Let's see. They do not have anything in receivables, so there's no money owed to us. The accounts payable, there is 10,878. Again, we were waiting for the money that was transferred from the LGIP to actually hit the bank account to pay those bills. Unearned revenue, so they do have $93,366 in unearned revenue from memberships, for annual memberships. So.
And that goes for the remainder of the fiscal year.
year.
Okay.
Is there any other questions on that?
No.
Next up is the budget to actual. This is gonna have the same skewed because of, it does have September expenditures in it, but not September income. So total income as of last week for the year, $66,053.70. Total expenditures, $145,699.91, which gives us a loss of $79,646.21. But again, it does not have the September membership revenue that has been earned.
Can I ask on
Yeah.
I think on 25, party room rentals, we budgeted like $10,000 and we made $90 Is that I'm reading right?
Yes, because we had, majority of the party room rentals that we have are associated with the pool. And the pool was closed for quite a while for parties.
Right.
So, yeah, it's the pool rentals and all of that is
Do we
down.
get up to $10,000 of profit off of that? Is that what?
We
what-
could, if we rented it out.
I was just
as
curious
mu-
to
as
see
often as we-
what the actual, I know COVID hasn't helped with this, but I
Yeah.
mean, just seemed like a lot to,
It'd be interesting to pull the, I don't have my report from,
when I put I look at
21,
the same thing as the
22,
pool
but-
rental, we budgeted 17,500, we made $200. Like, that's not great. Part of that pool's been down, but
Well, and yeah, that's, let's see, let me look. Where is?
and this is just for, what month are we in?
Jan-
September, so 2 months. two and-
This
2
includes,
months.
it concludes July, August, and then part of September for this.
Oh, for expenditures.
For
right.
expenditures, not income. It does not have any of the income for September.
So you have it on you what we did last year in party room rentals and pool rentals?
Not for the full year. By now. So this shows total rentals that we've actually done this year. On the statement of revenues and expenditures is 1,030 total rentals, but it's broken out by different categories on here.
Okay.
Last year at this time, we had only done $40. So that is up. And if you look at the membership values as well on the, it's actually up this year compared to last year.
okay.
Even though we're still at a loss, it is up from what it has been.
So the party room rental, what does that go for a day?
It's by hour.
Okay.
And I want
what's
to say
it
it's
now?
$30 an hour plus a $50 deposit, cleaning deposit that we return. And it's a 2-hour minimum rental.
What's the pool rental go for?
That part of facility rental. Or
No,
you're
no,
right.
the pool rental separate. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I know it's separate. It doesn't come with the party room. I'd have to look it up. There's a whole huge
Take on those, right?
list.
Okay.
They would have it.
Yeah, it's $100 an hour. Or it's 175. It's $100 an hour for 0 to 50 people for a rental per hour. And if it's 50 to 139 people, then it is 175 an hour.
Yeah,
With a minimum 2-hour rental, correct?
Yes, minimum 2 hour. Yep.
I don't want to have my birthday party next year.
No.
You know that maybe.
If you don't
Yes.
do a good job this year, you may not get invited, John.
Back on. Only because I noticed that we have our salaries split out somewhat.
Mhm.
Back on 15, page 15, line item 5122. That's not one person. Who is that? I mean, I don't want to know who. I'm just saying, how many employees is that covering?
Is that the
That's
director? or
two. There's two.
Which
Who are we missing?
The manager and the assistant manager.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
exactly what it is. It's
Okay,
the manager and the
Manager.
assistant manager.
managers, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, are there any other questions on the budget special for the pool?
Did you go to Roundup?
No.
Okay.
I am feeling and sounding so much better. I was banished on Friday.
Yep,
I bet you
I sent
were.
her home.
Okay, cash transfer. Anybody have any questions on that? Pool checking. 27. through 29.
27 through 30. Total deposits was 90,161. Total disbursements was 57,144.
I don't have any.
No
on it.
questions on that. The next few pages is the scan history. I haven't even looked compared to last year. So it is up, and we had total average or total scans 3422 versus last August was 3,083.
Can I ask, how many monthly, we have a number of how many monthly, 24-hour accesses we've been able to add,
I don't
I'm
have
wondering
that,
if
but we
that-
can get that.
affects and increases the numbers.
Oh, for the monthly ones?
Mm-hmm.
It might. I'd have to do some checking.
I do know that I've noticed the last couple of weeks, a lot more people, when I'm leaving the facility in the morning, there's a lot more people in the parking lot than there was a month ago.
January came early. January come early.
I don't know what it is.
If anybody has any questions, please so state, otherwise I'll take a motion to pass the financials.
I move we accept these financials as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are passed, Shelby. Old business district policy update.
So I have two different things for you. So right now, we have been, pass this out first. It's kind of page 1 and 2, because it is what we are going to be doing for reservations this year when we start them for the campgrounds for 2023. And the policy that we're looking at is our cancellation policy. It's something, as I say, if you look at the one that says campground and RV park cancellation policy. So right now, the policy that's in place has not been revised in over 20 years. And it's quite lenient towards the guest, and that they can call up to 2 days in advance and cancel a reservation, and they're out $5. So it is not in line with practices at most campgrounds. Oh, there's even the one that's right down on the Washington side, correct? Washington
Got my
side.
gold in there.
Yeah, they don't, once you book a reservation, there is no refunds period. And that's a policy that's somewhat common at places as well. So we're proposing that we implement a percentage back. If you cancel 30 days or more out, that you receive a full refund minus a $5 reservation fee. Well, everyone pays a $5 reservation fee, and then a $5 per night cancellation fee. Right now, as it would stand, if they canceled 30 days or even 2 days out, they would get the full refund minus the $5 reservation fee, and they'd just be charged $5, even if they're staying for 2 weeks. And it's hard to capture new guests within a 2-day time frame. We have lots of people that call about upcoming days of the week, the next weekend, and this would allow us to have some flexibility to recapture additional revenue from additional people who honestly want to stay at the park. It also, if you're a no call and you're no show for the first night of your reservation, if you make no attempt to contact us and you don't show up or anything, you would forfeit the remainder of your reservation, because it's sitting open and they can't get a refund for it if they're not using it. But people do call to let us know they aren't coming. And right now, it's been that it just stays open. We don't capture any additional revenue by rebooking it.
Mhm.
So,
Makes
so that is the policy that we are looking to have, as we don't, it's not even formally written in our stuff. In our operations and function.
I like it, because if you, as it currently is, if you cancel, we'll get any revenue. I mean, very little, and the odds of us winning it, especially when it's getting closer and closer to the day, is slimmer and slimmer. I think this is fair. You know, obviously, you know, if you have a family emergency, somebody dies or something, you're gonna get, but you know what, that's part of travel.
I mean, that happens in like hotels too.
Yep.
Mhm.
What was I thinking?
I was,
Mhm.
yeah, I was waiting to hear what you guys said.
Yeah, I'm not opposed. I think it's great because number one, we're gonna, like, this is what they're gonna get when they book online. And if somebody's stayed here before, it will be newer to them. But if
Right.
nobody has stayed here, they're gonna see, okay, these are the rules or the expectations. You know. And if we don't have it written down specifically, there's no way we can say, oh, you know, this group pays this or not on cancellation. That's silly that we didn't collect more money than that in the past. I mean, we wasted a lot of opportunities, because I know, like, you know, I live in Boardman, but I'd still come down and camp here because it's awesome. And my kids like camping.
Well, we're also still one of the cheapest places around to stay.
Yeah, it's not
So,
bad. It's not
I
bad.
mean,
We're actually pretty comparable. Our campground manager did look at numerous locations. And we're actually pretty comparable with our daily during the summer rate.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
that's-
nobody
that's-
else can compare to what we offer.
Correct, but if you have to look at how much we've raised our rates in the last 2 years. 2 years ago, we were $35 a night. So you gotta kind of weigh, okay, how much have we raised it in the last 2 years?
What do we have right now?
Versus- We're at 51.
Doing?
Do you anticipate that we will? Okay, let me rephrase that. Do you think that we will change our reservation procedure by this year or the following year?
Our procedure,
Procedure as far as that whole mail-in.
so that is
Okay.
what is proposed,
Oh,
or
is
like
that the
that is
next
what's
one?
on the other page.
We haven't announced
That
yet. Okay.
we, to go along with that, we want that procedure. We want to open online, that there's a form you can fill out and enter all your information. Or you can mail your reservation into us on a form that we're creating that you can print out. If you don't have access to print one out and you want to call or walk in and request one prior to November 1st, we will mail one to you. When they I guess I could look at it. On November, when it opens up,
21st.
on November 21st, they can fill out the form online, or they can start mailing their requests in and getting them postmarked. Up until the 1st, we will take things that are submitted online and any postmarks for that day, and that's the order in which they'll be processed. After December 1st, we'll process them as we receive them.
It's a little too late to change and not do the letters this year, but it's something that we can look at for next year.
Could you remind me, like, how many letters are actually like approximately? turned
Last
in?
year was 400.
And is that just because that's the process people have been used to?
Yes, it's
So,
been that way for a
Doing
very
it,
long
doing
time.
it, we have to be able to get that announcement out. I imagine there has to be some sort of email strand to those prior people that they would know,
Yes.
hey, now reminder, as we go to next
Correct.
year, we are only going to accept online.
Yes,
Okay, that would be fine, because it still gives them opportunity.
Right.
It's competitive, I know.
Is the date approximately the same?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the
So
date range
date's
is the same.
They're just gonna
It's
go
just-
online now and find the
Yeah.
option to do an online one, but those online, if they remit it on that day, it's the same as postmarking it on that day,
Correct.
Crazy
Correct.
that we did that for so long.
isn't it?
So-
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, that's a lot of work, like from them and also for us, like,
Yes, and we have to hold those letters too, because
We have it.
we've had issues this year where people.
Right.
Yeah, it
We've
was a
gone
nightmare.
Back through them. But one thing that hadn't happened before, there was no standardized form. We literally have greeting cards written out,
Right.
half sheets of paper. I mean,
Right.
they're all over the board.
but
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah,
So
Little
next,
basic.
cool,
They are,
I'm sending in, I'm
yes.
sending in 10 postcards.
Yeah. little postcards that are written in super neat cursive writing or super messy cursive writing, and you're going, oh, boy,
Yeah, we
okay,
can- yeah.
decipher.
Yeah, we need to move this.
So-
Yeah.
So this year it's kind of the hybrid where you can still mail something in on a form.
Yeah.
Or you can fill it out online and hit, it'll be a form online and you can hit submit and it goes into the.
Okay, and you will have that implemented, that
Yes.
form,
We've
I've
already created.
created it.
okay,
Yeah, I've already created it. It'll be put into our website, just like our online application and our gazebo rental form.
okay,
So it'll be there.
okay. Do they get some form of a,
They get a copy of the form sent to them.
oh,
And
good,
it is listed
Okay.
that it's a reservation request form. It
Yes.
is not
Right.
guaranteed that that will be
good, okay,
granted to them. It's based on availability.
Right,
okay,
So,
so next year, when we're fully online, if somebody mails us a card with money, are we just not gonna accept it, or are we gonna look and see if we have an, I would hate for somebody who's been coming here for 30 years and that's the process, and maybe they're not very technical.
well, that's, It's a
Now, if
year
we
from
look at
now.
it and that the dates they want are not available, I'm 100%, you didn't follow the process, but if we have an opening, I think that I would hope our process is not so rigid that we wouldn't deal with those people. You know what I'm saying?
And I think this year we're gonna get a feel for how many people fill it out online versus how many we're still receiving.
yeah,
and then I would suggest that every person that comes to camp at that time is that would just a reminder, hey, reminder that next year we're doing this only online. And maybe there's a little form or piece of paper that they can have as a reminder, appreciate your business, thank you so much, but a reminder we're going online. That way, then that's a person to person handing something,
Right.
the reminder. Plus, they're gonna need an email, plus they're gonna need I'm just joking. no,
they're gonna need all of it.
Yeah, I know. I
Lots
work
of
at a school.
reminders.
I really like this, I think this is great. Do we have a, do you guys need to discuss, are you in favor, what do you want a motion to?
Do we really
pass
need a
this?
motion for this? Since
I
it's
think
their
we do.
business?
It's money.
Yeah,
Money?
yep, yep,
It's a policy.
I move that we adopt this policy for campground cancellation and reservations as presented.
My second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I,
Hi. Can you expand on David's title of that? Pretty pleased to be this title. The title.
The
that
title of
is
each paper.
campground
Oh,
RV
yeah.
park. Yeah,
Yes,
pretty please.
yep, I will do that.
Only because it's a pretty please.
No, thank you for laying this out for us as well. That's very helpful and easy to read and understand, and I appreciate that. That's great.
Here's our second one, and I apologize, had I not been sick last week, they would have been included in your packet. So at the current time, we don't have actual written out park rules that we can enforce. And the city refers to our park rules for what's enforced. So because they refer to our park rules and we don't have any, there's essentially no park rules. So I feel that we are having some problems in our parks. And we have been in contact with Jose from Code Compliance and have been talking to him about being able to enforce rules, which we don't have currently. So right now, one of our big problems is our restrooms, and they aren't able to trespass them. They are making a mess of them, creating more staff time. They're sleeping in them at night, and the like. We've had problems with people in our pavilions refusing to leave, even though people have reservations. So this is a list of park rules and regulations that we've looked through many, many different cities and park districts and the like to come up with this. And if there's some that you think of that should be added or subtracted, that's fine. And once we have park rules and regulations in place, we can work with the city to see if they need to have like work to do, city ordinances to be able to adopt them or to be able to enforce them. But we need a starting point in order to have rules. And the third page is kind of a vision of like how they might be laid out on a sign. It's not all just writing. And they would also be in Spanish.
You can't drink alcohol here?
No, so these are not the park rules.
Okay.
These are not the park rules.
There's an example of
An
what the
example.
sign might look
I was
like.
wondering, because I've been to Cinco de Mayo here and 4th of July. I was like, well, we might be
There's-
violating that.
My understanding, there's never been a rule in place, just no glass.
But something like this
Yeah.
versus something like just a big old list of things to people is more, it catches their attention more
Agreed.
than just a list. So that's why I gave this example.
So right now, we can't really even call the police on these loiterers because we don't have any real.
There's no rules about parks in the municipal code. And so there's no,
Yeah. it
park
just clearly
hours,
says that
But we
they
can't
follow
ask
our
them,
park
we
hours.
don't have the right to trespass them if they're not following our rules.
based
Down
on,
here, we can because it's technically private property. But at like Marker 40, the city park splash pad, if they're in the bathrooms, we can't do anything about it at night.
Are those really our jurisdiction? They don't belong to us and we're just
Correct.
contracted
It's
to
a city.
maintain
The
them.
Right, the
So-
problem is, the city doesn't have an ordinance on it. It literally says that their park rules follows
Okay.
our park rules.
Let-
So,
Let him talk for a second.
So
Yeah.
that, right now, what I just heard, it sounds like you need to go to city hall meeting and you need to request that they create some ordinances or some regulations within that, if we, especially from our perspective.
Are
so we
supposed to
can back that.
maintain them, right? Because we have to
And-
have safe employees.
so I have reached out on several occasions, starting with a long email on September 9th to Karen and to Rick, and I have not gotten any response.
I will talk to the mayor
called-
tomorrow morning.
I've called several times to
Yeah,
Karen's
I figured
office
you
to
have.
try.
Do they
to
pay
get a
us
hold
to
of
clean
her.
those? and maintain them?
Yes, we have. a
Well, here's the deal.
contract.
If you refuse to do anything, your fee to clean them is gonna go up because our manpower usage is going up, our materials is
that's right.
going up. And if I gotta go in and clean feces off the wall,
Right.
really, I don't even know that we should be doing that
Right.
because I'm not sure.
Unless
That's
everybody's properly
hazard
trained.
work. And I will have that conversation with the mayor in the morning.
I agree with the rules. So what I'm hearing here, I agree with the rules and having those visually is really good. And I think having those down so we have some of the background, but I definitely think if it's city things that we're just helping out with, like if they have to create the ordinance, and we honestly should, it's the start of that communication that we should be having.
the other
Uh,
issue too is we don't have actual park rules in place for down here.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying. This
So,
is good,
yeah,
this is good, and it can encompass a lot of different things, and it
Yes.
might end up helping them out. But like that issue, like going to the city hall meeting and saying, I have an agenda to talk about after, like Mr. Borg talks to them, I think that's gonna get us to where we need to.
I mean, really, it's about starting the conversation about what
Yeah.
we need. I mean, I've tried to start it with the city, but that hasn't been successful.
So this is a good start, because if we implement it,
Correct.
then at least we have set the
Something,
platform, right?
yes.
I
Correct.
agree.
Because,
Huge safety risks for our employees.
yes,
And health issues.
and so at
That-
this point, the
that's
people
nasty.
that we're having issues with at the other pavilions, we've chased them off. And we've made it very clear that this is private property.
Good.
and they cannot be down here doing these things.
Now, can we
So-
trespass them
Good.
here?
They don't even
Even
come
without
down here
rules?
now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
I mean, we can request someone be trespassed off of our private property. We can't request that they be trespassed out of the bathroom up at
Yeah.
City Park.
well, the
Yeah,
city
that's gonna have
needs
to
to
be a city,
address
that would
that
have to be a
because
city.
Correct.
But the city's rules point to our policies, so if we have something in
Beautiful.
place, we can start having that
I
conversation.
mean, and I'm just saying that at a city hall meeting, what a great way to make that statement of like, hey, we have our city rules, but we are here just to help. We have a contract in essence of cleaning this.
Yes.
This is not anything jurisdiction of the park. These are the park rules that we have if we adopt this, right? And then to say, you guys need to do something about it, or, you're putting our workers in danger. What's the conversation? Let's get it going. Good.
So,
All right, so I'll move that we adopt the park rules and regulations.
And I think you should add, and if we need to add a few as we go, if they're more pertinent.
I like that. So I second that.
Okay.
Yeah, just because as you're developing, things may become clear and it's
Well,
okay to.
and
Yeah.
I would run this by maybe the SBAO or the lawyer and say,
Okay.
what, is there anything worded in here that leaves us the liability or needs to be reworded to make it stronger?
I will run them by
So then
STO.
do we want to approve it prior to that or wait
think we're
until
gonna-
that comes back?
I think we need to just, I don't even know if we need a full motion. I think we need to have it where we need to work on this to go to SDO and then come back with your final draft to then do
Okay.
this. Would you agree with that?
We can always adopt the new one as it comes in. This way, if we have this
Yeah, I want to
adopted,
get it
that
in.
gives us,
Okay, let's.
that gives Rebecca
Yeah,
some ammunition. or
especially now that
some-
it's starting to get
Yeah.
cold. I think
Yeah,
that
it's
we
gonna be a
really need
problem.
to get it put in. Let's just at least have something.
Okay.
We can always
Go back
revise
to
it.
it.
So we'll go that we approve these proposed park rules and regulations. Just leave it at that.
Good, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Quick question.
Yes.
Just curious, okay,
Mhm.
just curious. If we said to our employees, you go down and lock every single one of those bathrooms at every park in Boardman, what would the city say about that? Do we know?
Oh, good
We
find.
don't. My email that I sent on September 9th said how we'd like to proceed at this time. Or what we are going to do is go ahead and start locking them from 8 PM to 8 AM. Unless you have, please
Any
express any
objections?
concerns,
Mhm.
and I haven't gotten anything back.
Here's my concern is when you go down to lock it up at night, if one of those individuals is in there, get locked, you know what I mean? And that puts our employee in a,
Well, the police department used to lock them all. They
That-
used to
that
be
would
the ones that
be-
would go around and lock them and I don't know why they quit.
I
don't
think
remember
that
what the
would
reason
be
was.
a safer,
Yeah, I don't know.
I
We're not
just-
trained in that.
yeah, I don't even know who we have to go to do that.
Craig would be the one that he usually drives through the park and stuff. In the evening, he would go ahead and lock the restrooms, because we're talking the Splash Pad Park, City Park, Marker 40, and our own park. So there's 4 parks.
Doesn't seem bad when it's light out, but when it
Correct.
gets dark out at 6 or 5, I mean,
Yeah.
it is a scary thought. I would never want any of our
Well,
employees
and
jumped.
honestly, that's at
so.
8 o'clock at night. That's a long day every single day to do. I'm
It
just saying,
is.
like,
Yeah,
Well, they're
I know.
winterized, so but that's only for during the summer season, correct? They're
It-
winterized after November 15th.
okay,
October
So
15th?
October, did I say October or November?
You said November, it's October
October
15th.
15th. So they're
Through the
winterized after that, so they're closed anyways.
Oh, okay.
And just
Okay.
locked up, so it'd only
Okay.
be during the summer season months,
okay.
oh, okay,
so.
that's
Okay.
different.
So right now, I mean, there's not a huge amount of time left,
Mhm.
but it's still causing a
Yeah.
lot of problems.
We gotta start the
Absolutely.
discussion now,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
That way we're ready. for
It
next
opens the
year.
door, and I'm really glad that we passed that, because I would love to see that at least where we're setting what we want
Right.
for us, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so we just passed the park rules and regulations.
Yeah, you gave me, no, you didn't give me the park ones. What was that? EBS.
No fireworks, weapons or firearms.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay, all right. Irrigation Jeep final update, David Bohr.
We had, I think, 3 valve boxes behind the house here. Did we find those?
I don't know. I can ask.
I'm just curious, because I believe that was the last 3 that we haven't
Yes.
found.
Or
Yes.
we just approved these 2? Or did we approve
Not
all
that.
3?
We approved
That
the
is
list.
just,
This.
And
As I
those are
say-
just an example,
it's an example
a visual example.
of what a sign would look like that we would put up.
versus like just
Okay, I
a
see what
list
you're
of
saying.
rules. And there's another example.
Didn't we have issues with a person who was openly using drugs in our park?
Yes.
Yes.
That was in our own park.
And we don't want to have that, like, no use of controlled substance.
Well, I think, wasn't there something on there that you put about no illegal something?
I didn't,
What
did I miss it?
No indecent or illegal conduct of any kind is allowed.
Illegal conduct.
Okay, so that
No,
would fall under
was-
that?
was
Yes.
categorized in that.
Okay,
Yep.
Yeah.
along with nudity and that kind of stuff? Okay.
Well, the thing about nudity is Oregon's laws. That they can go lay in our park.
As long as they're
They
not being aroused and they're not doing it for any kind of pleasure, they can be nude.
What?
Yes.
Well,
In
we can say
Oregon.
no,
Yeah, we can choose to say
Right.
that we don't accept it, but
correct.
Yeah.
We wouldn't
The city.
accept that.
Yeah.
But,
What?
Yeah.
I don't know
oh yeah, yeah. You could decide to walk naked down the street and I
Well,
couldn't
I'm
say
not
anything
gonna-
about
I'm
it.
not gonna
Please
decide.
don't, John, but
I'm not gonna
I'm
decide.
I
just
can't
saying, in
afford the
Oregon, you
lawsuits
can't.
on the counseling if I did that.
Oh,
an anti-nude thing like that, we would really need to make sure we modify that to include
Okay.
nudity.
So
Sorry,
we
that would
want
be,
to
like,
modify.
we're kid friendly,
Huh?
not topless. Okay, employee background checks.
I do not have any updates. I did speak to, not Spencer, what's the gentleman from the, that came out here? Not Bob. I spoke to the person from SJO that came to visit me,
Oh, the risk
the
management
risk
guy.
management guy, and I forgot his name suddenly. And
worries.
he had sent out a couple of emails to people that he knew that had good background check stuff, and he didn't even get any responses. So
Oh,
I'm gonna start calling more
Um,
people and see if I can get some responses.
I can reach out to Brandy
Mhm.
at the port and because they do pre-employment drug testing and all of that too. If that's something that.
yeah, they do.
we
Leave it on
can-
summer help.
We can get their, at least their policies.
let's try that.
Okay.
Let's see what they have. And if nothing else, David Blanc has to have something. You would think David would have something, wouldn't you? Or a resource of some.
I mean, SDIO doesn't have a
Good point.
resource. They're like, great if you guys want to adopt some policy,
Okay,
he's like.
let's check with the port then.
Okay.
That,
I can do that.
something's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So. Okay, I'll just put here, check with port and update in October. If you happen to get something,
Yeah.
feel free to attach that to our packet
Okay.
for review ahead of time.
Okay.
EMS membership update, I think Takeo was,
Takeo was taking the lead on that. I don't know if she has an update or not.
hey, Takeo?
Yeah, we don't have an update because it kind of sounds like I don't know. It sounds like we're not going to be able to give an EMS discount to the entire, all of EMS. It's too hard for us to get the numbers of who are we including, just people who will work for the city of Boardman, for Morrow County, the whole works of what's going on. So they kind of just said, just drop it. And let it
So
go.
Bizzle-
Because they're just, yeah, they just let it go and just be under like do the same as like the city of Boardman discount, which I think we
For
already,
each of their normal
Yeah.
corporate employer
right,
discount.
yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead and remove that from next
okay,
month unless somebody brings it back up.
okay.
Audit recap, budget restructure, that was about combining to one budget with departmental.
Correct.
I
And
see.
recategorizing the
Yeah.
park to a governmental fund versus a proprietary. So, essentially, it was just continuing the discussion that we had started last month and getting your guys' opinion and feel for that. Well,
Go ahead and mark Louise coming in.
okay.
7 hours. 2 minutes, right? First time.
I was just looking for, where is it that you had it in here? Oh, here we go. Shelby stated that the auditors recommended changing the classification.
Yes,
Governmental fund, combining the financials. She intends to bring an example of what the budget would look like if it were to be
Which-
combined, which would kind of, you've already kind of started that for
We've kind of
John,
been doing
right?
it,
yeah, it's similar, so instead of getting, it would be basically what we already do for
Yeah.
our budget, but rather than having a separate park one, and it would be putting them together.
Right,
And
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And I remember like the only piece was to make sure like we know like what the actual profit of the park is overall
Correct.
in
Yeah,
the, well,
Correct,
eventual profit of the
Yes.
pool. How about that?
yes.
right, okay. So tell us real quick then, I remember you saying that we needed to know that or at least approve it by the November meeting?
At the latest, yeah,
Okay.
that way I have time to go through and structure so that when we're doing our budget, starting in January and
Mhm.
starting to look at it, I can build that and make sure that everything's
Okay.
the way it needs
We're
to
gonna need to
look.
hold one call
Yeah.
probably to have discussion.
Yeah, so let's move that to the next
Next
meeting,
meeting,
but
okay.
behind it, can you put like a hyphen and then put approval
Mhm.
to combine
Yep,
question mark? That way we remember what
What you're doing.
Yeah,
okay,
all right. Oh, I kind of forgot that. I wrote it down. Oh, no, wait, I don't even know if I added it or not. The master fee schedule.
I don't have it
Okay.
yet. There's been multiple talks between Rebecca and I about a couple of things that we need to look at
Okay.
before bringing it to you guys.
Okay,
Because we
so
want to make sure that we
October?
have everything on
Yeah.
there.
Okay,
So-
so if you could just leave that or put
Yep.
master fee schedule for the old business on the October.
October, okay.
Move to October. Okay, and then does anybody else have any old business? I don't remember adding anything under that category.
Mhm.
If not, new business, we have rec center janitor. Is that separate from? Who? Okay.
David
somebody
asked for
talked
that
about
one.
that.
David
Okay,
asked for that one.
that's David? Okay.
Yep.
David, you're on.
I know 3-4 months ago, I had a conversation about having a night janitor there to help supervise. Currently, we only have one janitor there, and that is a huge facility to expect somebody. And I can just tell you from a men's locker room standpoint, it's filthy. And it is what it is. But having that night person, and I don't know where we're at budget wise. I know Craig said something 3 or 4 months ago that we were looking at that. I just want to throw that out there. I really think that we need somebody there, a set of eyes there in the evening. Because I go in there every morning, there's 20 balls laying in the gym. So I go pick them up. If people aren't putting the ball away, what's next? Somebody kicking a window, you know what I mean? There's just, and I know we have cameras and all that, but I just think that, one, we need a second janitor there to help keep the facility clean. Two, a second set of eyes at night would help limit people. If they know somebody's there, they're probably not gonna do something stupid.
So we do have it budgeted for a second janitor. We have gone through the process of, so Atkinson Staffing provides the janitor that we do currently have. We have gone through the process of working with them on potential deficiencies currently. We've worked through that process, and we've also worked with them to see if they have a second person that we can hire, and they do not at this time. That's where I believe it was last month's meeting.
Yes.
Last month's meeting where we moved some of the money
Contract labor.
from contract labor into employee salary.
Salaries.
Yeah. And we do have a current posting for a janitor position, but we have not had any applications.
Is that through Atkinson?
No, that's through us.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
Okay.
So we are trying to find someone. And
I get
at
that.
this
It's a
point, we have
difficult
not.
world right now to find help.
You good? You-
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there, make sure we're all at least thinking about it.
You're up on the next one too, or I think, I mean, you put it there, but we all know what it is. It's her evaluation
we
that needs
need-
to be done next month. So my main question is on that. I emailed you guys it was a 40-something page evaluation sample form, okay?
It's how to
Just
build it.
yesterday that Shelby had sent me from HR Answers. And we just need to figure out whether that's something that we want to call a separate date to do an executive session on for her review, or if we want to just plan on it after the next board meeting and just reserve an, 40-minute time frame after our next meeting where we're going to say we're going into executive session to do
Right.
that. So,
I may not be right on this, but I believe we have to ask her if she wants to be in a private executive session or have an open session.
Yes,
Am I
that is
correct?
correct.
The
That is
employee
correct.
gets to decide
we will
whether we're in a,
ask her, yes. I'm just wondering whether you want it at the next meeting or if we need to call a separate day. That's my main question. Sorry. Let me rephrase that.
I think we should just do it that day.
On the
And,
meeting?
Yeah,
Okay. So first of all, are you okay with that at the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. And then I suppose since we're in open session right now, do you want a private or public review?
Private.
I would hope so too. Okay. So Shelby, if you could put us, put the executive session for the evaluation, whatever code we have to put that under.
just wanna confirm. It's the October 25th, not September 27th, next meeting, right?
Yeah, good
That didn't
point.
get-
Good
sorry.
point, yeah. And what day is that, John? Sorry.
Tuesday,
I know,
October
but
25th.
thank you. So
I get
October
that in my
25th.
calendar too.
25th, 2022 at the bottom of our agenda, and then, yeah, add that executive session. Where are we gonna put that? Clear down at the bottom, I suppose. Before number 12, obviously.
So we will need to get that. We're gonna go with that evaluation form then.
So it's in your email, your park email.
Yeah.
If you
It's not a form.
It's not a form, it's
it's-
just an example, like little questionnaire, and it has some guidance points on the things that we may want to ask her or evaluate her on, her performance, that kind of thing. Like,
It talks about how to set it up essentially.
yeah,
So you'd have to decide if you want to go with this
here's
or if
the-
there's something else. Here, I have one too.
okay. So if you skip down to page 25. David, the first part of it's all garbage, but skip down to page 25, and obviously we're not doing public input at this time, maybe next year, but anyway, it gives talking points and ways of evaluating her as far as 1 to 4 on 1 to 5 on agreeing. And then there is a little form on page 33, which is a sample evaluation form that we could all, complete and
Just
go
something we
over.
need to
Are we
do
gonna
before we
complete
come.
that before the next meeting?
I would think you'd at least want to evaluate, I mean, look at it, know what you're gonna do, and then, yes, we could pass these out at the executive session and discuss them. I don't,
I think
If
you
we
guys
have to
need to
keep
do a
them?
workshop on what exactly you guys are gonna do this. How you're gonna set it up. You need to have a cohesive process
we
in
can't just use
place.
this.
It's a guide, but before you go into this, you need to have a list of questions of what you're wanting, the expectations of how you're going to evaluate her, all of these things. That's what that book talks about. And it literally goes through and sets it up for you.
I'm gonna agree with that, like, we're gonna need, because here's the thing, if we look at this as our guide, and let's say you have, I don't know, the 10 points that we're gonna look at, that is her job,
Mhm,
and we can, and it's specific,
mhm,
or, it covers all the scope and sequence of her job,
mhm,
then those are great questions. If we ask 10 questions that only cover 5 points out of the 10,
mhm.
that's a very poor evaluation, and not really driving what evaluation is supposed to be, which is supposed to be feedback, right? Observation and feedback
Yeah, and you
for
should
growth.
have the job description that you guys have given her in the beginning,
Mhm.
Yeah, we all have
along
that.
with that too, to look at, and I think this is a lot of the reason why before, that 360-degree review was done with previous managers, and it was an outside source, because nobody wants to take the time to go through the process of it. And I think that's the main thing, is figuring out what you guys want to do, how you want to do this.
I'm not keen on, I'm just not. Had this person, our manager, been in place longer, I could see where a more detailed evaluation would be applicable. I guess I just thought it was gonna be a little bit easier because of the fact that she's been on such a short amount of time. And
And
I'm
that's
not gonna go around asking the employees their opinions with such a short time frame of employment, but that's just my opinion, and everybody else might have a different opinion. So I'll just take the board's direction. Whatever you guys want to do, that's what we'll do.
Is it possible that we could do a work session afterwards, October, and then do the evaluation in November, or does it have to be done in October?
I think as long as we agree and Rebecca agrees, it's in her contract that we do a 6 months. So if we
Yeah.
agree to extend that, then we can certainly do that.
I'm just saying, like, if it, just to make it more, I mean, if that way we can keep it as.
Think about it.
The scope down. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't want to speak for Norma and George that are here
Yeah.
either, so.
Okay, well, are you okay with that, Rebecca?
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead.
With the fire situation, we have a form that everybody fills out,
Mhm.
and it covers probably most of what we would want to evaluate Rebecca with.
Mhm.
You guys want me to reach out to Chief and have him forward that form to us? It's really good. It breaks it down. I think there's 4 domains, one about leadership, one in budgeting, and it's really a pretty good document, at least for us to start with.
Sure.
And then we could modify it as we need it, and then have it in that policy book
Yeah,
for future references.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah, why don't you email that to us, and then
we can do a work
let's
session.
do what John said then, and we'll do a
Workshop,
at the end of the meeting.
okay, at
Next.
the end of the October meeting rather
Yeah.
than the executive session.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, so let's
Okay.
do a workshop after the meeting, basically. And then we're gonna have to remember to add then to the November meeting, the executive session to the end of that one.
Right,
Which
which
we-
I
which
just
we
made a
will.
notation, so.
and then I'm gonna, when I get that form, I will send it to you, Shelby, to send out to everybody, because
Okay.
that's way more than my technical. Me getting it to you might be a challenge.
Gee.
I see him every day. He can print one and hand it to me if that's easier.
Okay,
Does he have your email by any chance?
Mhm.
I'll just have him email it to you.
Good.
okay, so also, the workshop is public, but no comments from the public. So when we
Correct.
publish that, make sure there's
Yes.
that's very clear.
Yep.
That people can attend, but they can't speak. And then I'm just putting a note here to move the executive session to November. So, and one more time, just so we're clear on the record, and it's being taped, Rebecca, you're okay with postponing your true evaluation till November meeting? And
Yes,
that's
I
okay
am.
with you? Okay,
We don't have a December meeting. do we?
correct.
No.
Hallelujah. Okay, and John, or not John, David, you are gonna send everybody,
I'm doing it.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it.
Shelby's probably gonna send it to us because it's gonna go to Shelby.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, perfect, great, great, great. Anybody else have any other comments on the evaluation? We good to move on, David, do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Rebecca, your district. Okay, just backtracking just a little bit, okay? Only because of the body positive people out in the world and the United States in the direction we are taking, okay? I
Okay.
can completely see us in the future having issues with nudity. So please add that to your policy sometime in the future. I know when it gets cold, we're not gonna have to worry about it, but I could see where that would be an
Well, I
issue.
might want to come down and do a little polar plunge.
That's what I say, polar plunge. That's exactly what I'm like, polar plunge.
If we're going to revise, I'm not saying right now, but if we add stuff in the future, let's make sure we add that word nudity in there, please, in quotations. Okay, blah, 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 Rebecca's Hall, let's see, you have a report back here. And I do apologize, when you said that we received the 10,000, which is great. I didn't realize we were 120. I'm sorry about
It's
that,
okay.
but 10,000 is great.
Yep.
It gives us a start, and that's very nice of them. Really, really happy they were able to put that in.
Yes. So yes, for the most recent updates on grants, we did receive the Good Shepherd Foundation grant for 10,000 towards resurfacing the pool deck. And so I'm looking at how to modify the project based upon the budget that we have. So I will have updated numbers soon for that. We've already spoken tonight about the parks and the problems that we're having. I did apply for an SJO safety grant. When the gentleman came and met with us from SJO, we are needing to write some OSHA policies because of OSHA, and we have to have safety equipment in order to enter the confined spaces. So the grant was written to get a lot of that equipment, also for updating the fire system, because it's for any projects after July 1. And so we did have to update the fire system that's already been paid for. So we should find out soon about that. I will come back to the Energy Trust in a moment. SDAO had a conference in Salem. It was a great time to see people and actually meet people. So I did actually meet Nikki, who's from the Energy Trust, and we had a great conversation. Brief update for the Boardman Marina Boat Dock project for replacement. They're working on the biological assessment, but it's close to being completed. And the Corps of Engineers reached out about us wanting that 50-year lease and having questions. Shelby had sent an email back in, I believe it was January, and the gentleman who it was sent to has moved to a different department or area. And so they didn't have a copy of that. So we were able to send that showing that we had already requested it. And so they were happy with that letter and are using that to move forward. They've had other questions about projects we've done, and we're just clearing stuff up with them so that we can move forward with getting the 50-year lease. Lifeguarding, there's still some difficulties, but I'm training a couple more people. I've stepped in with that. Taco's been great with overseeing the lifeguards the past few months. We still have the position opened and for the aquatics coordinator, but we do not have any additional applicants at this time. The Wild Horse Foundation grant that was received, we will be purchasing the fall protection surfaces. It's like a rubber shredded material that goes in the playgrounds. And we had hoped to do the slide replacement over at the campground at the same time. I've ordered the slide, it's been paid for. This was back in August, I believe.
Yeah.
And the new updated shipping date is January 11th, 2023. So it does not look like that will coincide. Maintenance things that we're working on right now. We have finally, actually, since this is written, we have moved forward with Superior Glass, and they should be coming out in November. Their schedule right now is November or December. So we're working on booking that so that we can fix our ADA door. That has been something that has not been working for longer than we would ever have anticipated, but it is a supply chain issue. The lock and key people did fix the door today, and we have an employee restroom that's back in the staff area, and the toilets are mounted on the wall, and it's starting to fall off the wall, and there's a mounting bracket, and it too is on back order. So they may have a toilet again soon. There's been a lot of work done at the pool over the past month. We shocked the pool again in order to address some issues that we're having with chemicals and not being able to get them in into the correct levels. And the pool is now 5 years old, so we also have to replace the main drains. It's called the Virginia Green Baker Act, and it was named after a girl who was sucked into a main drain and killed. And so they changed this, and the drains that were installed have to be all across the country. They are replaced every 5 years. So due to back orders, we have not been able to obtain them, but we got them. And the therapy pool was drained, cleaned out. It looks amazing. The guards scrubbed and did a lot of work on that. And we did get the drain covers a couple of days, or like yesterday. So they will be installed, and then we'll be able to reopen that pool, because we can't open it we have to fill it, because we can't leave a pool unfilled, because it can start to come up from the ground. But we also can't let people in it right now, because they removed the main drains thinking that they had the correct ones, and they did not fit, and they couldn't be put back in. So it will be reopened very soon. And Craig has taken some of the lead on the Halloween event, as has Hannah, and that is coming along really well.
Remind me again where that is being held.
It is being held at the marina.
Okay,
The haunt is going to be on the baseball diamond.
okay,
Softball.
Sorry, softball diamond. And then the mad scientist type area is going to be held in the pavilion.
okay.
We have kids from FFA, the art,
I believe the
art group,
class,
and
possibly the shop class.
shop class that have been, they've been talking to the teachers about
No holes are being done.
no holes.
Will you define the difference between the post op? What do you guys consider the city park?
Sorry.
Right above the Halloween event, it says repainted women's restroom at City Park, and then right above that, it says post office park bathrooms. So what do you consider the city park versus, because I thought that was the
I
city
think
park.
they're one and the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he just mislabeled.
Oh, okay.
Because we call the one with the splash
Splash
pad, the
pad.
splash pad
Yeah.
bathroom.
Yeah.
Splash pad.
Okay, I just want to make sure we didn't have another one that,
No.
okay, okay.
No, same,
I
one
did
and the
not
same.
catch that.
Okay, and then go back and I'm sorry, when is our lease up again? 2024, 25?
2.5.
25, okay. And then go back to you said you're covering the
Oh,
pools
yes.
again. So what did we fix?
Because we do not have a lot of coverage or staff because they're back in school. So during the daytime, we had the FFA, like, well, they're supposed to be, they talked to us
100
like
kids.
100 kids. After the conference, they're gonna come over, and in the morning, actually, we have 250 kids.
Oh, wow.
So I've never seen this facility so packed, like kids everywhere.
Awesome.
Climbing wall, the pool, the gym, the aerobics room, as well as the community room. And so I hope to break lifeguards and guards so that we can allow as many kids in the pools.
But the Energy Trust Fund pool covers, they were flaking and.
So yes, they are flaking off. I can send you guys.
They're literally deteriorating.
But you said we did cover the pool again? So
No,
what did we
no,
cover?
we have
Oh, we
not.
haven't.
We
Okay,
haven't.
okay, gotcha.
At this time, we are not covering the pools.
Okay.
Because the flaking of the black stuff will damage the filters and the mechanical system.
Did you hear back from them on the warranty for that?
I have not yet. I have sent them all the pictures that they requested. And both Craig and I have spoken to them, and one of their first questions was, are we having the same issue with our therapy pool? Because you would usually, in a normal situation, if you're having problems, it'd be a pool that's kept at a hotter temperature,
Mhm.
but that's not the case. The therapy pool covers are not deteriorating at the same extent as the main pool.
Oh, interesting.
So the underside is literally coming off as well as the entire edges of them. So,
So on the rec center managers report,
yes.
the first sentence, is the word not supposed to be now, or is it supposed to be not? We are not fully
Oh my
functional, or
gosh.
we are?
It is
functional?
now fully
Okay.
functional and back online. for
Okay, good. There's a
monitoring.
big, they kind of have.
Yes,
opposite-
for a long period of time, it was
Okay.
not functional, and that has been corrected, and we have a new monitoring
Okay, perfect.
company. Aaron Harris started at our front desk, the front desk coordinator. I don't know if any of you have met him, but he's doing wonderful, and he's really excited to work on corporate memberships. He himself has a story about working out and the difference our facility has made in his life. So the club automation is going well, so people can now use an app to get into the facility. And well, once it's completely swapped
Done,
out, yeah, as opposed to the old cards that we had.
You know how to do that?
Do I know how to do
Because I
that?
have the app and I'm not finding any kind of a barcode. It
Do you
showed
have
me-
I have to get with-
24-hour access?
Mhm.
I'll have to get with Taco to figure out where exactly in the
Okay.
app it's at, because I don't have 24-hour access, so I can't see it.
We will
Online.
assist, and we can probably post something showing where it is in the app on Facebook as well. As I mentioned,
Do you mind me asking then, who's doing is the gardening class, because it's on a Wednesday, is that mainly gonna be people who don't work then? I mean,
It's in the
not gonna be,
evening.
oh, it is in the evening.
Yeah.
So kids can
Mhm.
do
Correct.
that, okay.
yes, Hannah has been doing a great job with programming. The adult art class series that's in the evening with Roxy, they've done pouring with like acrylics and epoxy. They've done rock painting. They're going to be doing wood burning. We have sports going on with the youth volleyball that's there. And the adult volleyball league, which is going to start next month. We had, as of last week, we had two teams and a half a team from like individuals who signed up. And then the day of, like in the middle of the day, we're up to 5, and now we have 11 teams.
Nice,
Yep.
On the last day.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
waiting till the last second.
So who's teaching this life skills series?
There's an instructor that Hannah had found that does a lot of different courses. So, yes. And the larger class that we're looking forward to is self-defense with Hans. It'll be for adults and youth, but we ordered the mats and they have not come in yet. They're on back order, so.
I kind of have to laugh, because this how to properly shop, prepare, and store food, laundry and stains, and sewing basics are all things that we used to cover back in the day under home ec,
Mhm.
which I
Or
wish we still
personal
had.
finance.
How to make chocolate chip cookies.
for
Hey,
so
we
an
had a
apron.
position open and we applied for it.
I'm hoping eventually we can get that boy and girl club. That would be super awesome to have that. Okay,
So the one thing, I did put that, didn't I? Maybe I didn't. Oh, yeah. So the Energy Trust has approached us about doing, I included in your packet information.
That one I didn't because it didn't have the money in it. It literally didn't have anything about money in it.
I don't know what I did with my copy. There was a study, a technical analysis study that was done done several years ago. And one of the energy savings things was the pool covers, but they had two others that were identified. And they have to do with retro commissioning our HVAC system. So it's not cooling as much when we're not using the facility, and installing switches for it. And sensors, adding sensors and a physical button and setting the temperature setbacks at a different.
Yeah, this was the continuation of the Energy Trust that Scott had originally brought up.
was that
Over a year
prior to
ago.
24-hour access though?
No,
It was
no, this was.
knowing we
after
had
this-
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
And so they have some additional incentives right now. And I guess we expected they might cover all of it, but at this point, I was trying to share the analysis information with you. And I have information about what it would cost us if we do the energy measurement 1, which is, has to do with saving money on electric and gas. We can have that fully covered. For both measures, it would be $9,738, and they can provide $7,700 in incentives. So we can either pay an additional $2,038 to do both of them, or we can complete one and have it fully covered. So,
And what are our savings? Are they
so
anticipating our savings to be what?
I know that it is not the correct number because I calculated it based on what we actually, our actual energy rates. But the first measure is savings is $4,209 per year. And that's for saving 3,231 therms. And it's really more like, I don't want to quote it because I did the math, but I don't have it in front of me. So, but
So they're saying
Several
their
thousand
study
dollars.
shows that our savings would exceed what we put into it, even if we did both of them and had to pay the 2,000.
yes,
Is
it
that
would
what you're saying?
exceed it for the first one. And the second one, the estimated savings is $2,036 for the year. So $2,036, which is ironic because it's like nearly the exact amount that we would pay for both of them. So we have to make a decision on this essentially this week so that things can be ordered, so that can be done before the Energy Trust money incentives go away. It has to be done by December 10th.
So is that something that we have to approve, or can you do that? Because we're not really spending outside of a budget, and it's not like it's contracted work where she has to get,
well, we still have to pay it out and then they reimburse us.
right? But it's not
So,
something that's gonna be bid, right? We're not having to get bids.
No.
So,
no, because it's all through them. They pick who does it.
Okay.
It's specialized work. There's
Yeah.
really no one. We've been trying to get a quote. She finally got a quote. And there's pretty much one contractor that can do the work for that system. So,
what's your recommendation?
I mean, I guess I was looking for feedback on if you thought both of the savings were a good idea. I mean, I think that doing both would be beneficial in the long run. That
You
we
save
should have
about
that cost
$5,000
savings.
a year, roughly, with the amount that you were quoted. The first year, we'd only save 3 because we've been into. Here's my deal, this day and age, the more energy efficient we can be, the better, because energy is gonna be harder and harder to get as we go forward. And it may not be hard, but it's gonna be way more expensive. So anything that we could do to alleviate. If it's gonna, even if we don't save money, if it lowers our energy usage. I think we're way ahead.
As long as it works, like whatever it is that they're modifying, as long as it works and it doesn't, we don't foresee issues with it affecting the way that the people use the facility.
Correct. And I have asked a lot of questions because I was like, is this just, I mean, we'll give you money, we'll do this work. And I'm like, what are you actually selling me? So
Right.
there is information from the engineer who actually did the study, and he's assured me, I mean, it's not something that's gonna affect people. I asked, is it gonna affect the fitness facility when the work is being done in the natatorium area, because things are connected? He's like, absolutely not. So, I mean, the pool definitely is not used overnight. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I say if it falls under, I'm gonna let that be your judgment, but I
Okay.
agree with David.
I just want you guys to know that,
Yeah.
because it is technically, we are receiving money and incentives from them. So.
Yeah.
That is,
I don't think I mean, even the amounts you were quoting are under the amounts we've authorized you to
Sure.
spend, so I think we're fine. Yeah, no, great.
and I know the one other thing that we had texted about, I did not text you guys. Krista and I spoke, and then I know she spoke with some of you individually, but not as a meeting, about a workshop for staff and the board to work on developing a mission statement, goals and values together. I think it's important that we do it together as opposed to the staff are on this page, the board's on this page. I was speaking to a consultant through SDAO. She thinks it's something we could do in a half day if we take the time as individuals to do just kind of a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and to think through that and bring that to the session.
Right.
To be able to do stuff. So I am going to get some dates that she is available, and I can send them out on Calendarly, and then you can choose what times you're available, and we can figure like consensus what date and time is good.
Is that something we could do on a Saturday?
We could.
And I'm gonna just say, I know from him and my standpoint, even George, weekdays are
Mhm.
very difficult.
Even if Friday is difficult.
We
Some
work
Fridays.
more Fridays in some capacity, and he works every Friday.
Okay. Okay, I'll do whatever you guys think. Weekends are precious, so keep that in mind.
Okay, you should have an email from Michael.
Okay.
Second thing, where I'm hearing lots of things about our disc golf. Do you have an update on that?
I was asked by the Corps the other day if we had filled out the proper paperwork. And I am talking to them about it because technically the ground was disturbed for all of the numbers for each of the holes, and there was never paperwork filled out for it. The decks that are the tees are lay on top of the ground, and the goals are in boxes that are filled with, I guess, cement and rock, so they're okay. But I'm trying to get feedback from them if they're going to make us do something differently with that.
Well,
I said-
spontaneously appeared one night. There's not much we can do about it.
Yeah, spontaneously. So there's also 2 tees that we need to move and 2 goals to be moved. So, because they're on BIA land, and I believe it's land that the Corps is giving to the BIA.
Right.
They're transferring it
Yes.
because they got it as part of the first right of refusal.
So has this land ever been surveyed? I guess my question is that I would really like to know what the property lines are, because anybody could say that that's their land, and if it's not properly surveyed, that would be my concern. And not that I want to get in a pissing match with everybody.
I would
But-
imagine the Corps does have some form of a survey, yes. And they would
But
have,
me walking out here and say that's not, how do they know that's not, you know?
yeah, we could probably ask the Corps for that. I would imagine.
And
we
and
have
I know we
released it.
didn't do things the right way when we put it in, and I knew it was gonna be a headache when I was told that. We. But going forward, whatever they decide, I think it's really important that we try to figure out how to, with what land we have left, incorporate a disc golf, and I think it's really good for our community. We were ranked like one of the best courses in this area,
A lot of people are coming. to it.
and
Yes.
And
I'd reach out to Mr. Burt as far as getting recommendations I mean, I know that we worked with a company previously to build the course, but he plays it so often and he's ranked that what might be good options for where those holes could move. So I should be having further conversation with him this week about that. The person I'm dealing with is a realty specialist with the Corps. So I could ask her if she has a survey of the property.
So if nothing else, they probably have a survey of what they're deeding to the tribes, right?
They
Okay.
should.
They should.
Yeah.
The problem is that unless a surveyor goes out there and puts his stakes in the ground, we're not gonna be able to read them. So, I mean, we can read them, but we can't mark them. So we're not gonna know where those, we can look at it. and
have we
can't-
reached out
We
to the
can't even gauge it
BIA?
based off of a road because the
No,
road might
They,
have moved.
we haven't personally, but I know the Corps has, because they've notified them that we do have those holes on there. And they've already said they do not want them on there. They want them removed. And they won't take ownership of the land until those holes are removed.
So,
Do you blame them?
They just haven't played the course, man. Been the best thing.
Well, the
Holding
other,
on.
the other thing that was brought up, because Mr. Burt came in Friday while you were out,
Okay.
was he was never really informed of where our campground expansion was gonna be going to either. There's roughly 3 holes there too, where the campground expansion that way
Right,
would be affected.
right.
So he has actually asked for ideas of where to even move the whole disc golf to.
I mean, we're a couple years out on
I
that.
know,
So.
I know.
And considering they're all supposed to be movable,
Yeah.
then, and I say that with quotations,
Mhm.
they're
You just-
supposed to be movable, so I
Just
don't
have
know
to
that
drive it.
that's kind of a moot point right now. Like, use it while you have it, and we'll have to cross that when and if we come to the.
Is
point
there
where we
any
can
land
expand.
behind the buildings here?
No,
No,
the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
You just have the first 9 here and then you have to trek across town for the second 9 holes.
But where would that be though?
If we got the lot behind Zuzu Park,
I'm pretty sure that's already sold.
I don't know.
That's so the
Behind
real,
what?
Zuzu Park,
it's the little park that's over in the,
On
over
Zuzu?
off Anderson.
Oh,
There's,
gotcha.
yeah,
Okay, I didn't know I had a name.
well, it's
Yeah.
on Zuzu. So we,
used to be Din Street. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, David brought up under other business that he would like you to do an analysis of what our additional cost would be if we were to raise minimum park employees to $15 an hour. Which, that's not really true, because if you're gonna raise the minimums,
We
you
have to
gotta
raise
raise
everybody.
everybody else, so
Yes.
whatever the difference is, you know what I mean? We'd
Okay.
have to, anyway, just if you have a chance, try to see that. In addition to that, I'm curious, what are we looking at on the next meeting? What are we looking at for what our payroll expense, the additional payroll expense is going to be for the paid
Paid.
leave Oregon, which is a total.
Yes.
Who passed that, by the way? Did we pass that?
No, we didn't vote on it. It just got put in.
That's such a
It's, if I remember right, I
It was
believe the
legislative session
percentage
that did it.
is
such a
1%.
terrible thing.
The
I
tax
know,
that
it's
we
the
pay
guidelines
is
for pulling the money
1%.
back out is, it's gonna go bankrupt.
What
I
does
don't know what
Oregon
they're
leave?
thinking.
Is that what we gotta give?
We have to, we're required
Well,
paying 6% of
we have an
1%.
option though to not
60%.
do that and provide an equivalent plan to our employees. And we, in addition with that, we wouldn't have to pay that tax.
Let's figure out what we were even up against.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm going to, I
Yeah.
believe it's Thursday. And it will talk about that and it'll talk about what equivalent plans are out there, what the cost is.
Right.
So we can figure that out.
Right.
HR Answers is offering 2 free sessions, so.
I just didn't quite understand it because they were advertising that if you paid in a medium average salary of 67,000 in Oregon, right? And they said 670 is what you put in because it's 1%.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then it said September 1, you can pull a weekly benefit of $1,200 and something dollars. And I'm
Well, and
like,
that's not even through us. We actually have to go to the employment department to apply for all of that.
right, right. And then
So-
they'll tax you on it. But
Yes.
it's
yes.
just crazy that that you would be allowed to pull a benefit that's double what you even contributed.
Oh, yeah.
You know, everybody's gonna do that.
Isn't that coming out of our salary?
It's
Huh?
coming out of
Yeah.
salaries as well as the employer has to pay a portion.
Yeah.
'Cause we're
only-
losing that, we gotta pay, teachers, somebody was telling me they're gonna take that money out of a paycheck.
They do.
They do.
I-
It's
I-
required.
And then they don't think anybody's gonna take it. Everybody that
No,
qualifies. is gonna take
everybody's
it
gonna
over.
go on vacation and claim that.
Because
they're taking care of their sick
Not
mothers.
in my jump.
Okay, so just if you have a chance, run some figures, just curious what we're up against.
Okay.
I think it said if you pay out $1 million in payroll, which is ridiculous. I don't think we're paying out $1 million, are we? We're not paying out $1 million. in payroll.
No.
Feels
Yeah,
like
we're
we
not,
are.
we're not.
Right?
Like, we're not, right? Right?
Okay,
Please tell me we're not.
yeah, it was like 10 to 12,000 a year. Anyway, and then last would be the tablets, whether we're using them or not using them. Shelby wanted some clarification on that.
Yeah, I just need to know, so that I can kind of have a heads up as to who's gonna need packets copied, who's not. Because if you're gonna use the tablets, then obviously you can look at them electronically.
I'll just use the tablet. Well, I'm gonna use the tablet. If we have the tablet.
So we purchased Samsung tablets that come in their own case. We can also get a stylus for them. To set them up, you can go to your office account in order to open your email in there. And then you can download the PDFs and the emails with the information.
So Rebecca's wanting to know, she did get them.
Yeah.
So I think she
Yes.
has them
We
all
have,
on the
them. Yeah, we
board.
have them all.
The other
She's
ones are
wanting
in
to
a
know
box.
whether we want them issued to us.
Oh.
That's what
I
they're
just
asking.
need a, whatever you call it, a tutorial
Okay,
on how to turn it on. I'll need somebody to help me get my email, but I will use it.
okay.
I'll be honest, I was real hesitant at the fire to go with what they did with the iPad, but it's nice. Especially
Do
having the
you have it
email.
checked out? Checked out to you?
Every board member has one checked out to you. And then the
I'm gonna
pass-
pass for now because I'm a paper person and I have to make notes.
the
but
password's set up. At least so they can get back, if I was to die, they could get in to my tab, obviously, I guess my technical, I could change it, but it's set up. So they can log into my iPad.
Now I'm trying to remember what it said.
Oh, you
So
have
just
them.
let, yeah, you guys just let Rebecca know if you want one. Rebecca does have them for you. Rebecca, if you happen to mention it to George or Norma, let them know they're available and that
Sure.
if they want them, they can have them. They just need to keep them safe and they're checked out under their name,
Okay,
like a school
Are they
project.
available to get next week?
yeah, I mean, I have the box tonight, but I can charge it and we can walk through it.
This week's not an option. Sometime next week I'll swing by, I'll text you. and
Okay.
see.
One last little thing for you two to input on, and if Rebecca wants to go with me, she certainly can, but I was called by one of the city council members to participate in a, you know how we hired the third-party service to to get our district manager. Well, they're doing that again for the city manager.
Right.
And they wanted me to sit in on an interview with that company to tell them, give any kind of input from the parks perspective on city park relationship and what we'd be looking for, that kind of thing. Obviously, I've made Columbia on my backside too. So I do have things I can talk about, but if you, that's on October 6th. So if you guys think of something that you want me to discuss, besides the fact that we just discussed the park contracts and to have that open avenue with the city and the park for those things. If there's something else you guys want me to discuss, please let me know, text me or email me your thoughts on that, okay? And we're talking about relationships, the fact that, you know, I know they come in and do use their street sweeper. We love that openness, right? The fact that the city is backing us constantly and we try to back them, and it's a working relationship, right? Just like we have with the port. So that's our main thing, but we don't want a city manager that's gonna come in and shut all
tried
that
to
down.
encourage them to use the model that we used and the fire department used as far as having more than one, just a city council interviewing, having like a business panel, a community panel.
Right.
Which I think is what they did with the last one.
They'll definitely do that again, I would
Yeah.
imagine, yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, if you think of anything specific to park city relationship and our working flow, then by all means, let me know. And Rebecca, if you want to come with me, you're welcome to. I'm going on Mid Columbia and Park, so. And it's October 6th at 9:45 a.m. is our time frame. At the city hall. And
Am I
if
able
anybody
to ask sorry, am I able to ask a question or am I not allowed to talk?
So I was just going to say,
I'm
that
sorry.
if anybody else has, that's okay. If anybody else has any comments, now would be the time.
So I guess that means I can't, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Krista.
You're fine, you're fine.
I just have a question and it kind of goes hand in hand with what Rebecca was talking about doing the workshop about our values and all that. In the meantime, I'm struggling with the fact that Hannah's doing amazing things. She's scheduling all these things, but we're running into the problem of, I need to know what the board's priority is. Is it youth sports going in there and them being able to use our facility, the gym? Or is it were classes and programs that we are setting up? Or a
So-
balance of the two?
I don't think there's one way here. I think obviously,
No.
I think we needed to, we have, I know I can speak from like 2 years ago, we didn't do anything with youth. And so now we do stuff with youth. And so that's, encompassing that. I think having the adults opportunities are also things, the direction that I would envision us to do, because that's going to promote more families that want to say, hey, this is a great facility. I want to now make sure that I have a membership there, right? We're driving that. I think it's a combination. It's community from adults to youth, in my opinion.
Okay,
And think
that's
of that.
so sorry, go ahead.
I think that was where, honestly, our previous district manager struggled with that same question, that balancing act between keeping everybody happy. And so unfortunately that does flow down on you to keep everybody happy too. But yeah, I think the board's always been pretty open to wanting everybody to be able to use the facility in all different respects. So.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's what I thought.
I think a bigger solution to this, and I don't know how to do that, and I'm gonna kind of put John on the spot, but I don't know that the school district and the park district are partnered up enough. So like in youth basketball, you go to any other town and the high school gym Saturday morning has youth games in it from like 8 a.m. till noon.
Right.
And so I think that going forward, that probably needs to be coordinated more with the schools. Does that make sense, Keiko?
Yes, absolutely. Yep, I
I
totally.
just don't think we utilize the school facilities enough to take care of the kids
Right.
at school there
And
on off hours.
I figured I knew what you guys were gonna say. My question is, Hannah's doing great. I mean, lot of new things coming in and a lot. I mean, this adult volleyball league's coming in, but it's also, I know it's coming around to the time of youth basketball. And so I just want to make sure that that's still, I guess, not the priority, but it is still a priority so that I can make sure that they are, getting in there as well. I have no problem reaching out to school district. I've done that before. As a coach, I mean, I coach for the junior high, so that's not a problem. We're already talking with the senior center as well. We just had a meeting with them last week and they're really open to us coming in and sharing. So that was a other thing for a side note for like programs and classes and things. So we were looking to talk to the school district as well about gym space so that we can get everybody taken care of.
You might be able to talk to the BCDA, and maybe you already have, about maybe partnering with them to rent the facility at the senior center to raise some revenue for them.
Yes.
So one thing with the senior center, because it's an option that we've explored and we'd be interested in being able to offer additional programs to that facility, is that currently there is a conflict of interest with a person who's on both boards, and that's the person who we would go through in order to get the space. So that's why we have not proceeded any further.
Did you have any more questions, Takeo?
Nope, that was it. Thank you.
Tell Hannah though, and you too, we're really glad to see those new
Yeah,
programs.
she's doing great. So she really is. I'll tell her she'll be happy to hear that.
Yeah, really glad for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then maybe, eventually, once we get the fire hall, we'll have more space too. If we get
If
the
we
fire,
get-
if we get the fire hall. That's-
Which
Okay, anybody else have any more comments? Any other business? I
Well,
need a
on
motion.
record that I did make it before the meeting. ended.
Yes, I'll put it at the very end.
That doesn't count.
I know.
Seriously, you do not get to count that.
Yeah, you do.
We're happy to see you though, George. George
Well-
came in right at Takeo's last other business. Okay. Motion to adjourn, somebody,
Motion to adjourn.
A second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Not I.
7:40.
Was volleyball still going on? Or is it over?
Nope.
It's done?
You had a clean sweep.